This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated by the agenda. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation office. As is our custom, we begin our time with a prayer. Mr. Parks, please.
Heavenly Father, just thank you for, again, allowing this group to join together and in unity, remembering and just lifting up the next generation. And I just pray for all decisions, all activity here, that we may all keep that at the forefront of our minds, that it is about the kids, their education, and the future of this country. In your name we pray. Amen.
And thank you. Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. Will you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. We do have everyone present. Mrs. Jones is joining us by Zoom, which is perfectly acceptable. We can see you and hear you. So we do have a quorum. Mission statement. Mr. Parks.
Lebanon Community School Corporation will cultivate and reach every student by influencing and enriching their lives through the power of education, and to do so in a positive and safe learning environment.
Thank you. I forgot to mention this before, but could everyone please just be sure your cell phones are silenced? Thank you. Public hearing on our budget. Mr. Tate.
Yes, at this time, we'll begin the public hearing on the budget for 2022. This is the second of 4 steps. The first one was our workshop and advertising. Tonight we're having a public hearing. The capital projects plan was posted on the website and on Gateway. Also, the bus replacement plan was posted on the website and on Gateway. There was a notice to the taxpayers posted that has our budget estimate, the maximum levy to be raised, and the tax rate that we're advertising. So briefly, our rainy day fund budget estimate is $1 million. Debt service, $8,030,368. The referendum capital debt, $7,767,000. Education fund, $22,761,131. Operations fund, $11,396,500. The maximum levies for these funds, the rainy day has no levy. The debt service levy is max would be $7,258,719. The referendum debt capital levy, $7,171,598. No levy for the education fund. Operations fund, max estimated levy at $7,396,983. The total adopted tax rate is $1.1284. At this time, I would open this up for comments, questions, or concerns from the public. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, if you'd come to the podium, identify yourself, and make your statement at this time, please. Is there any board member that has questions or comments about the proposed budget? Okay. At this time, then, Madam President, I recommend that we close the hearing on the budget.
All right, and with that, we will adjourn, then close the meeting, or close the hearing on the budget. And next, we will open yet another public hearing on the 2022 GO bond.
So we have a proposed GO bond for some renovations and work within Lebanon Community School Corporation. So this is also a public hearing on these projects and how we plan to fund them. A quick synopsis of the projects would be some heating and cooling work at Harney, along with some roof replacement work. Stokes Elementary, some heating and cooling, along with some roof work. Middle school, some replacing the redundant chiller and adding some soccer parking spaces. High school, heating and cooling work, some roof work, a new softball complex for our varsity team and to be shared with JV, and an outdoor learning lab for our special ed program, along with some replacement of food service equipment. Also within the next 2 years through 23-24, purchasing some buses as we replace those. Some additional work at Stokes in the middle school and the high school on heating and cooling. Those projects are estimated, including the soft costs, at no more than $5,575,000. So we're proposing a GO bond for $5,575,000 to be issued in October or November of this year, proposing to be paid off over the next 2 years, in other words, 2022 and 2023. And so at this time, I would welcome public comment, questions, or concerns as a part of the hearing. And again, I would ask you to come to the podium and identify yourself and make any statements or have questions or concerns on these proposed GO bond. Seeing none, is there any questions or concerns from the school board? So I'd recommend that
Okay.
we close the hearing and move forward with the resolutions, Madam President.
Okay, we will close that hearing and move forward with adopting the resolutions. Thank you, Mr. Tate.
The first resolution I ask the board for approval of is Exhibit A, the project resolution. I will read this into the record. Whereas the School Board of Trustees, the Lebanon Community School Corporation, at a meeting on September 21st of 2021, held a public hearing in accordance to Indiana Code 20-26-7-37 for the purpose of answering questions and listening to taxpayers' comments and any evidence they may present about the proposed renovation of and improvements to school facilities throughout the district, including site improvements and the purchase of buses, equipment, and technology. Whereas the board has carefully studied all the known options and feels that the proposed project is in the best interest of the present and future students to be served by these facilities. Now therefore, be it resolved that the purpose of the project is to provide an improved educational environment for our students. Be it further resolved that the estimated hard and soft costs for the projects are $5,432,124, with the estimated cost of issuance $142,875, resulting in a total estimated project cost of $5,575,000. Be it further resolved that the estimated $5,575,000 will be funded by one or more of the following: Operations Fund, Common School Fund Loan, ESSER funds, general obligation issue, and/or Building Corporation bond issue, with an anticipated impact on the debt service tax rate of 0.1475 cents per $100 assessed value, based on an estimated $1,872,668,694 of assessed value beginning in 2022. However, as existing obligations mature, the anticipated net increase to the debt service fund tax rate is anticipated to be 0.0712 cents above the current rate. Ask for board approval of the project resolution Exhibit A.
Okay, thank you. I'd like a motion to adopt Exhibit A, the project resolution, please.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second, please.
Second.
Any questions on that? Okay. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Tiffany, I guess if you could just indicate out loud or a thumbs up, just so we can see your vote. Perfect, got it, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Next, I bring to Exhibit B, the preliminary bond resolution. I will not read all this into the record, but a portion of it. Be it resolved by the board of the issuer that, for the purpose of attaining funds to be applied at the cost of the project, there shall be issued and sold the bonds of the school corporation to be designated as general obligation bonds of 2021. The bond shall be in a principal amount not to exceed $5,575,000. Ask for approval of Exhibit B, preliminary bond resolution.
Okay, thank you. I'd like a motion to approve Exhibit B, the preliminary bond resolution, please.
I'll motion.
Tiffany?
I'll motion.
Okay. Would you like to second? Okay. Second for Mrs. Hutchison. Any questions on that? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you. The last
Motion passes.
resolution I bring to you tonight is Exhibit C, Declaration of Official Intent to Reimburse Expenditures. And again, I won't read it all, I'll just read a portion of it. Now therefore be it resolved that the school corporation declares its official intent to fund the project with proceeds of obligations incurred by the school corporation in an amount not to exceed $5,575,000. Be it further resolved that the school corporation reasonably expects to reimburse itself from proceeds of obligations issued by the school corporation for costs of the project paid prior to the issuance of bonds. So we will have some expenses prior to receiving the bond funds that I will pay for out of a different fund and then reimburse ourselves once we have the bond funds. That's the purpose of this resolution. So
Okay.
ask for board approval of Exhibit C, Declaration of Official Intent to Reimburse Expenditures.
Okay, great, thank you. I'd like a motion to approve Exhibit C, Declaration of Official Intent to Reimburse Expenditures.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions on that? Nope. Good. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Nope, motion passes.
Thank you very much for your support on this.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Tate, for all your hard work.
Yeah, that's quite a job, and for reading all that. All right, item 4, approval of minutes. We have three actually. August 17th regular meeting, August 25th work session, September 10th special session. I'd like to take those as one motion to approve minutes, please. Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Questions, concerns on those, corrections? Looks good.
Looks great.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Item 5, certify executive session content for the September 10th executive session. I'd like a motion to approve that, please.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Any questions? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 6, consent agenda for staff matters. Dr. Milliman.
Thank you, Mrs. Keith. This evening for item 6A, our classified staff bring several recommendations this evening. 1 new bus driver position, 3 food service positions, 4 custodial positions, 8 substitute positions. I'd like to bring forward Sean Apps as recommended SRO officer at Lebanon Middle School, and returning to LCSC, Mr. Kevin Elliott as the SRO for Central Elementary School. Also, a middle school study hall supervisor and a middle school office manager. And we do have 1 termination this evening, the Central SRO. For item 6B, leaves and resignations, we have under certified, Brittany Gunter is requesting a maternity leave. Jordan Fowler, 3rd grade teacher at Prairie Worth, requesting a maternity leave as well. Diane Scott this evening is recommending Sharon Pelly as literacy coach. The board may recall this is a position we were able to bring forward a couple years before we hope to with some of the federal relief dollars to help our students in the literacy arena. And Mr. O'Rourke is recommending Nikki Aber as a certified nursing instructor at Lebanon High School. Under 6C, under ECA this evening, Mr. O'Rourke's recommending Bill Hyatt and Sarah Osborne as co-sponsors of Key Club. Mando Scoble is recommending Joe Larson as a volunteer cross-country coach, and Phil Levine is recommending Mike Horvat as a assistant tennis coach. And that's all I have for staff matters this evening.
Okay, thank you. All right, as we usually do, we will take items A, B, and C, classified, certified, and ECA as one item. Like a motion to approve the routine staff matters consent agenda, please.
Motion.
Okay, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any questions about any of that information? No? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes, thank you. Consent agenda for business matters. Mr. Tate?
Yes, my pleasure to report to the board and the community this evening. Our monthly financial report shows these percentage expended as of August 31st. For our education fund, 59.98%, operation fund at 54.54%. At this time, I'd ask for approval of the claims numbered 53961 through 54195, and the payrolls for August 20th and September 3rd of 2021. The claims total $1,950,616.95. The payrolls total $1,723,167.77, for a total of $3,673,784.72. Ask for approval of the claims and the payrolls, please.
Okay, thank you. Board, I'd like a motion to approve claims for payment 53961 through 54196 and payrolls for August 20th and September 3rd, 2021, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Any questions? No? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item 8, superintendent announcements and celebrations. Dr. Millman.
Thank you, Mrs. Keith. First, for some announcements this evening, I did share with the board this week that for the 21-22 school year, we're going to be suspending our in-person parent-teacher conferences. Our principals will be working with teachers and continuing to work with them to have ongoing frequent contact with the parents, but certainly under some of our protocols and circumstances, it's pretty complicated to make that work in person. So just wanted to make that a part of the announcements this evening. There'll be more information forthcoming from our principals on that. We will give, of course, data updates to our families on Fridays, as I've been doing with our COVID-19 data in our schools. Working on, with Mr. Martin, on sharing with our families the number of close contacts that we may have encountered prior to September 15th, and then from September 15th until now, and how some of the board action has been affecting that. I have some early data on that, just anecdotal at this point from today, for example. One of our elementary schools did have a positive that was reported with the bus close contacts and classroom close contacts. I believe it was 16 students that were part of that would have been quarantined. We ended up with 2 students out of that 16 that actually ended up quarantining and going home because of the situation that we're in now. Second elementary school had a positive with 8 contacts, and I believe there were no quarantines from that group. So that's some of the early results, but we'll try to make that in a readable format by Friday. Still working on what that may look like with our nurses team and administration to do that as well. So I hope everyone has some patience as we try to share that data in a readable way for everyone to see what our circumstances are. I think also there was some questions at the end of the meeting on the 10th about our teachers and whether they were required as well to wear masks during the school day. And I believe it was Mr. Parks that pointed out that the board wanted to help with making the decisions in these protocols, and I appreciate that as a superintendent. However, it did not eliminate my ability to do that. And again, I appreciate the board stepping in and wanting to share that responsibility with the administration. There was a procedural piece that needed to take place. As Mr. France pointed out, that procedural process was taken care of on Monday, so our teachers were directed to be masked as well as the students at the same time on Wednesday. So just wanted to clarify that for the board for your information this evening as well, because I know there was some confusion about that and some conversation around that. So
Thank you.
wanted to make that clear. Now on for some celebrations. Very proud to share with you this evening that the high school is announcing that 4 seniors have been recognized by the National Merit Scholarship Program. It's always exciting. We have the students in that category. It's a rarefied academic air that the students are in nationally. So super proud of the students. Based on the score on their 2020 PSAT test, to receive the honor, the students have scored in approximately the top 3% of all PSAT testers throughout the entire United States. The 4 National Merit Scholars for us this year are Aaron Carter, Samuel Green, Riley Newman, and Abigail Thomas. So congratulations to them. Yes, thank you. Absolutely. But wait, there's more. Sam Green has also been named as a National Merit Semifinalist. And they represent the highest scoring seniors in each state, representing less than 1% of high school seniors in the United States. So in other words, Sam has scored in the top 99th percentile of all senior students in the entire United States. So congratulations to Sam as well on that accomplishment. And I see some money in his future with that.
Good for Sam.
Can't predict where, but I see some money in his future. Something I did not get to experience, just as a side note there. I'd just like to thank our Tiger marching band and athletic department and to the way they honored our first responders and military at the game last week as we spent some time to celebrate their efforts on the eve of the anniversary of the 9/11 tragedy. So it was just so well done. I just wanted to take some time out to thank them this evening for that outstanding tribute to them. It's homecoming week next week, and so we're working on keeping some of our traditions alive and trying to do those things in the safest way possible. So I look forward to some pictures of our students participating, and it's always fun that our elementary students get involved as well, and they really enjoy getting into the competition and dressing up like the big kids and on the dress-up days. And we can't do an assembly with them for a pep session for the winter, but we're going to try to work something out for our elementary winners this year as well. So looking forward to a great homecoming celebration next week, and that's all I have for my announcements this evening.
Great, thank you. I also did see the middle school had a living flag.
Yes,
And
yes.
that was really cool with the drone footage
Outstanding.
and
I
the kids.
tried to share that on
was-
as many social media outlets as I could. I
That
thought
was really neat.
outstanding. Yes, it was
Yeah.
very, very well done.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next item is comments from the public. Visitors requesting permission to address the board on a specific agenda item should, prior to the meeting, sign in with the board assistant, Mrs. Beltran, located in the front of the meeting room. According to Board Policy 0167.3, each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes duration. No participant, excuse me, may speak more than once on the same topic unless all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard and the attendee's remarks do not exceed 3-minute maximum per attendee per topic. We ask those addressing the board to speak from the podium, state their name and address. Board Policy 0167.3 dictates that personnel issues will not be addressed. Concerns about individual employees of the district should be brought to the superintendent or designee. Excuse me. Sorry. We do have several people signed up. And just to clarify, the mask policy that's currently in place is not on the agenda this evening. That will be on the agenda at our October meeting, just so everyone is aware. There's no action, really no discussion. Excuse me, I need a drink. Choking a little. Forget it. On that item at this time. So there are several people signed up. We would ask that the audience please remain quiet while people are speaking, that you will also not clap in favor, make any noise one way or another towards any of the speakers, just that the room would remain quiet, please, as people speak. So, Craig Mosley, please come forward and state your name and address to each speaker. Excuse me, just one moment, sir, I'm sorry. Mr. Martin, are we able to do a clock with Mrs. Jones up there? You've got it up here, sorry, looked the wrong way. Got it. Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead, sir, sorry.
I'm Craig Mosley of 1804 Clover Lane. At present time, there's only limited and inconsistent scientific evidence to support the effectiveness of masking healthy people. Anyone with basic knowledge of this topic knows that a virus is simply too small to contain. In addition, it can also enter through the eyes. As recently as December, the WHO admits this and lists a number of potential harms from wearing masks, such as headaches, bacterial pneumonia, to name a few. That needs to be considered. May of 2020, the article of the New England Journal of Medicine said, "It is clear that masks serve symbolic roles and may help increase perceived sense of safety, well-being, and trust in hospitals. Although such reactions may not be logical, we are all subject to fear and anxiety. It is clear that this is not just about the science. It has become political ideology. Wearing or not wearing has become an expression of political speech, whether or not one is concerned with the well-being of others. American Civil Liberties Union explains political speech in schools this way. Schools cannot discriminate based on the viewpoint by your clothing. The Superior Court recognized students do not shed their constitutional rights of freedom of speech or expression at the front door of the school. That is dyed hair, t-shirts, whether one wears a mask or not, and so on. Show me the peer-reviewed science that masks work, especially the way we are re-wearing them and sticking them in our pockets. If we are looking at the science, a large percentage of us have had COVID and have natural immunity, but we don't talk about real science. Those that fear can mask and vaccinate. There are inherent risks in life. Schools should respect one's decision to mask or not. No mask mandates. Looking at 35 different randomized clinical trials from 2016 to 2020 from frontline doctors showed no significant difference in wearing a mask or not wearing, in wearing one or not wearing a mask, but noted adverse side effects from wearing masks. That is bacterial pneumonia, headaches, breathing problems, to name a few. The WHO, April 2020, recommended use of wearing masks only for symptomatic and ill individuals, did not recommend widespread use. In conclusion, the science is inconsistent at best, and unknowing long-term effects, be it physical or emotional, and taking the political agenda attached to the mask wearing in consideration, I ask that the board leave the decision of the health and well-being of our children up to the parents. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would ask again, please, that there's no clapping, that the room remain quiet after every speaker, please. Thank you. Natalia Agudelo, please.
Hello, my name is Natalia Agudelo, and I live at 1740 West Witt. I did not, wait. I'm a little blind. I did not come to this meeting with pages and pages of information found on the internet to support my agenda. I am not here to give a personal account either. I just want to thank each and every one of you for relying on the advice given by those health professionals from our community who want what is best for our children and our community. I would not want to be in your seat right now. If the division seen on social media lately is even a reflection, a portion of the backlash that many of you have been receiving, I want to let you know that there are also many parents in agreement with universal masking at LCSC, and thankful, if anything, to keep contact quarantining to a minimum and keeping our kids in the classroom. Again, I thank you, each and every one of you. We have all enrolled our children in the school district because we trust you as a corporation to educate and keep our children safe. We also have a choice as to where our children are educated and spend 8 hours of their day. And we have chosen to entrust LCSC. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie Douglas.
Carrie Douglas. I live at 3740 Bowling Green Drive in Whitestown. I also want to start out by expressing my appreciation for the difficult situation you guys are in. You decided to be on a school board, you campaigned, you got elected, and then you got slammed with a pandemic. I'm also standing here as the medical professional who was in the front lines when this started, going into patient rooms, which is what stemmed the research that I've done over the last year. You didn't meet me last year when you mandated masks, because last year we didn't know the size of the coronavirus and we didn't know how this virus behaved. That's different this year. We've confirmed that it's aerosolized, and that puts us in a whole new ballgame. I had a presentation, but based on what I've already heard tonight, I'm just going to change it. We're coming at this from the completely wrong direction. When I started looking into this and realized medical professionals are trained how to prevent the spread of a contagion in a hospital, it's a very controlled environment. We're all educated on how to wear our PPE and what is available. Industrial hygienists, they are the industry that is focused directly on how to transmit the spread of a contagion in a public setting, in a setting where people do not have PPE on that they are wearing correctly. I've brought a copy for all of you of this hierarchy of controls. This is a decades-approved roadmap for how to get through this. The other thing that it offers for you guys is a way out of the crossfires. Yes, social media is blowing up. Your community is blowing up. I am not here wanting children to be exposed. These people, that is what they do. They focus on reducing exposure to a contagion. This isn't the issue. It's not a debate about whether or not to wear a mask. There are so many sides to that, and I'm not even going to get into it. What I would implore is that you guys look at the science behind industrial hygiene. You're getting ready to propose a $5.5 million bio or geo grant for technology, for buses, for softball fields. Look into ventilation filtration, surface contamination, extra custodial work. Those are the things that are going to prevent or reduce the exposure for our children with an aerosolized virus, not simply hitting it from the very bottom of this hierarchy. You can't win something if you start at the bottom. And when you foster the fear of the public over the freedom of the public, you're fostering hysteria. When children are scared, they don't calm themselves down. They go to their leader. They go to their parent. We're coming to you guys. When you read about what's going on with COVID in an environment like a school, it is scary. But mandating masks is only setting us up for division. I will be emailing you guys more industrial hygiene data. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Chelsea, I believe it's Ellery, is that correct? Okay.
Hello, I'm Chelsea Ellery, and I live at 1913 Garfield Street. I know with what Ms. Keith said that more of this should go towards the October meeting. I feel like it should also be addressed today, and thank you all for being here and doing what you do. because it is hard to be in charge of children where there's parents that are saying this, that, and the other. And it really just kind of boils down to liberty and freedom for all. So it kind of changes what I was going to say, and everyone in front of me has kind of said what I was going to say. But we just need to kind of look at Sweden's model. You know, they didn't shut down, didn't wear masks, and they're at herd immunity. I'm sure this is all stuff that you already know, and you have to kind of be on eggshells, and that's unfortunate. But I just want to end with this. But a constitution of government, once changed from freedom, can never be restored. Liberty, once lost, is lost forever. And that was John Adams. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Aaron Elmore.
Hi, my name is Erin Elmore. I live at 4665 Indigo Blue Boulevard. It's nice to see you all today. We've been in communication, so. My husband and I, Patrick, are very different people. He is a software engineer, and I majored in philosophy and literature. He hunts down data and spends hours interpreting and researching while I'm in the kitchen reorganizing the pantry. Patrick can tell you what stars are made of, and I can tell you what the stars mean. Patrick rolls his eyes at me and I just laugh at him. Regardless of our differences, we make a great team because there is one underlying commonality that makes our other differences superficial: our love for our kids. Every parent here loves their children and wants the best for them. I look at the other parents here, and without a clue of their opinion, I know we have the most important thing in common. We all love our kids. I know how they feel because I know how I feel. We all agree on that. So I know that when a parent approaches this stand and says, "Trust me," their next words could be anything. Trust me, I'm a nurse. Trust me, I'm a scientist. Trust me, I'm a mathematician. Trust me, I'm a parent. Trust me, I trust the right people. Trust me, I love my kids. So when parents come here and squabble about masks or no, quarantine or no, vaccinations or no, if you listen closely, you can hear a mother or a father's love. Trust us, we want what is best for our kids. We have all read and interpreted and analyzed and pondered and questioned what has been happening to us for the last year and a half. We have all reviewed data, scholarly articles, news reports, and Facebook posts. Most importantly, we have listened to our children's voices. And we absorb all this stuff and to our overworked brains and put it through a sifter and funnel it through piece by piece, moment by moment, to determine what it all means and what should I do. We interpret these expansive meanings and we beg for answers to the most important two questions a parent ever has. How do I nurture my child? How do I protect my child? I am pro my daughters. Their names are Caroline and Brooke. And because I'm pro my daughters and their journey to be the best woman they can be, I am pro parents' choice. I know what my girls need. Trust me, I love my kids.
Thank you. Patrick Elmore.
My name is Patrick Elmore, I live at 4665 Indigo Blue Boulevard. When is it appropriate for a governing body to take decisions out of the parents' hands in regards to health and safety of their children? Is it when that action will save the life of one child, 100, 1,000? The meta-study regarding infection fatality rate published July 13th by Stanford University estimates the infection fatality rate of COVID-19 for individuals under 18 at 0.0027%. If you apply that to the entire Lebanon student body of approximately 3,500, 1/10 of a student is how many we could expect to save if we were to somehow able to prevent COVID entirely in our schools. You might say, it's not just about children dying. We also want to prevent them from getting seriously ill. That is a fair concern. According to the CDC's COVID net data, about 4,000 of 213,000 COVID hospitalizations are children. This is 1.8% of COVID hospitalizations. COVID net only covers 10% of the United States population, so we have to scale these numbers up to get an estimate for the entire country. If we do that, it indicates that about 40,000 children have been hospitalized due to COVID-19, or roughly 0.05% of all children in the United States. If you apply that rate to the student body of Lebanon, that is less than 2 students we could expect to be hospitalized due to COVID. These numbers paint a very clear picture to me. COVID is really no more of a threat to our children than the seasonal flu or pneumonia. In fact, do you know how many children died of the seasonal flu and pneumonia in the time that it took 400 children to die of COVID-19 in the United States? 459. How many children died of all other causes during this time? 50,000. When you look at this purely by the numbers, does it seem like maybe, as a society, the reaction to COVID is wildly disproportionate at this point? Why are we continuing to subject the segment of society least likely to be harmed by something to the most stringent control measures that have significant negative effects? Why do we continue to mass quarantine healthy children? The study published by Oxford University on September 14th showed a 2% effectiveness rate of close contact quarantine programs. That means 49 out of every 50 students are needlessly quarantined through these policies. The school district is inevitably going to publish statistics showing what an overwhelming success the masking policy has been, based on the reduced number of students quarantined. However, this was a guaranteed result. It has nothing to do with whether masks work or not. It shows that following a set of rules that dictate significantly less quarantines will result in less quarantines. The same result could be achieved without masks if we simply followed the same rules that allowed for the desired result. Nowadays, you hear the phrase, follow the science or follow the data. I agree with these concepts. However, as a whole, we seem to have stopped using the 2 most basic scientific skills we have, critical thinking and common sense. It should be truly exceptional circumstances for a governing body to take control away from parents regarding their children. It should take circumstances where there is no meaningful debate to be had about the issue because common sense dictates that action must be taken. COVID is not that. I'm asking the board to take yourselves out of this fight. Be advocates for the return of critical thinking in our decision-making process. Give power back to the parents. Trust me to make the best choice for my children.
I'll ask again, please, that the room remain quiet. Thank you. Next, Jamie Orr.
Good evening. Jamie Orr, 5645 West 400 North. I'd like to start this evening with the pledge that we all made this at the beginning. Specifically, liberty and justice for all. Definition of liberty, the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. To us, this issue is more basic than masks. This issue starts with our basic right to freedom. The mask mandate is a direct imposition on our child's way of life, as it is unwelcome demand. Without the mask mandate, anyone and everyone is free to wear a mask if they choose. Even your parents can demand that a child wear a mask to school. There are better methods to control exposure within the schools. For example, better air circulation and filtering. Sounds like there's some projects coming on with heating and air, so some measures could be in place there for that. Temperature checks during the day, maybe halfway through school. A designated class teacher would check temperatures to catch those people that have started temperature since they've left home. Quarantine of 6 students with or without negative test results, as they're not 100% reliable. Facility cleaning has already been mentioned. And just let's talk about masks for a second. Also, personal protective equipment. It's not EEPE, everyone else protective equipment. If an individual's PPE is not fitted properly, the effectiveness is greatly reduced. If you're not protecting your eyes, the mask is not helping much. Masks are generally designed to let everything out easily. So if somebody is sick in the school, it's contaminating the whole school. So if you're not providing filtration and proper cleaning, then anybody that is there is exposed directly through their eyes. As parents, we should have the final say for what is best for our children, not the school board, not the state, not the federal government. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Tim Byer.
Good evening, Tim Byer, 520 Renway. Since I was unable to attend the September 10th meeting due to an out-of-town commitment, I sent you an email explaining the state and federal constitutions and your duty to the people to uphold them, which you take an oath to do as their trustees. Although I would like to, it would take much longer than 3 minutes to read and explain the entire email. To put it simply, everyone has an individual right to make their own private decisions concerning their health. Nobody has any authority to issue a mask mandate order, the board nor the health department, the governor, the CDC, nor anyone else. Your mask order is unconstitutional. Those elected to any office are servants and trustees of the people and exist to secure their rights. These rights are inherent and inalienable. From Black's Law Dictionary, inalienable rights means rights which can never be abridged because they are so fundamental. Inherent right is defined as one which abides in a person and is not given from something or someone outside itself, a right which a person has because he's a person. Such rights also include the following: liberty. Two notable definitions are natural liberty, the power of acting as one thinks fit without any restraint or control, unless by the law of nature, meaning not written by legislature. Personal liberty, the right or power of locomotion, of changing situation or moving one's person to whatsoever place one's own inclination may direct, without imprisonment or restraint. In other words, my right as a parent to send my child from any location in society without a mask into the school without a mask. Another right is right of privacy, the right to be let alone, encompassing various rights recognized to be inherent in concept of ordered liberty, and such right prevents governmental interference in intimate personal activities, freedoms of individual to make fundamental choices involving himself, his family, and his relationship with others. Look at any other aspect of life where these rights are enjoyed because everyone exercises their right to decide whether to wear a mask or not. Why do you feel you have the authority to strip those same rights once inside a school building? Please explain that to me and do so by citing the constitutional provision that grants you that authority. You are supposed to secure the people's rights, not trespass on them. When the state tries to trespass on the people's rights, as the elected officials closest to the people, it is your job to say no. No different than when our state officials every once in a while decide to grow a backbone and say no to the federal government when they want to trespass on the people's rights. According to the Parents' Bill of Rights published by Attorney General Todd Rokita, a modification to the agenda can be requested during public comment or by an individual board member. So you can correct this tonight should you decide to do so. I'm holding in my hand a legal notice and warning that will be served in the very near future. I would serve it tonight if it were not undergoing a final review. Among other things, it notifies you that when you are not performing your functions that you swore to in your oath of office, you are in danger of maladministration and intentionally violating the Constitution. You have an opportunity to correct this tonight. I encourage you to do so. Thank you.
We have one more speaker, and again, I will ask that the room remain quiet. Anaya Thurman.
Hello, I'm Anya Thurman, 150 South Allen Drive in Lebanon.
I apologize.
That's
Totally
okay.
pronounced your name incorrectly.
I have 2 children at Lebanon's Community School Corp, and standing up here in front of you is probably one of the most terrifying things for me to do. With that being said, I will do anything it takes to take care of my children. To the board, I know when you signed up for this job Being responsible for making a blanket medical decision was probably not even on your radar. Yet here we are. I feel that all parents here, regardless of opinion, understand what a tough position you've been put into by the state. I'm very sorry that they have passed the buck on to you on this issue. I want you to know we support you and will stand behind you if you are ready to say, this is not our decision to make. To the teachers, bus drivers, and administrators that have been tasked with upholding the state's burdensome guidelines of reporting instead of teaching, safely transporting, or providing critical support services to our students and staff, because now they are expected to spend the school day looking for mask violations, scanning the room for possible symptoms, and making the decision that someone needs to lock themselves at home because they might be sick. I'm sorry, but we sympathize with you. We understand this should not be your responsibility. We support you and will stand behind you if you decide to stop. What I ask of you today is to please unmask my children. Put the decision back in the hands of each individual family. That is what we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that is everyone signed up to speak this evening. Thank you. Moving on to item 10, action items. Dr. Milliman?
Thank you, Mrs. Keith. On item 10, I'm recommending this evening approval of a settlement agreement between Lebanon Schools and LMS teacher Sean Watson. This agreement includes a 5-day unpaid suspension for the dates of August 16th through August 20th and a resignation effective at the conclusion of the 2021-22 school year. I recommend approval of both the agreement and the letter.
Okay, thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the settlement agreement and resignation letter, please.
I'll motion.
Okay, so Tiffany, I have you as the second. Lisa made the first motion. Okay, so that's for the settlement agreement and letter of resignation. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Approval of Medicaid billing contract with PCG. Dr.
Yes,
Mellon,
thank you,
please.
Mrs. Keith. Bringing forward a request for PCG. This is a company that's actually tied to the same parent company as our IIEP that we house our students' IEPs in. They happen to have the same ability to bill the Medicaid for our students eligible for that. You may recall that we previously were contracted with a company called Go Solutions, and there was some procedural and issues with that billing that we are still working through with legal as well as the other members of Joint Services. So Madeline Sandberg, our Director of Joint Services, did a thorough interview and vetted companies and recommended PCG as the replacement company for our Medicaid billing services. So I recommend their contract for your approval this evening.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I'd like a motion, please, to approve the Medicaid billing contract with PCG.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Questions or comments on that? Okay. I'll just say thank you for bringing that to the board pretty
Yes,
quickly.
thank you.
Appreciate it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. C, approval of Project Lead the Way donation. Dr. Milliman.
Just have three happy items to bring to you here in the next three. The first is approval of donation from Project Lead the Way. It's nice to have a network of friends. Mr. Tate has some longtime friends. It's also part of Project Lead the Way, and reached out to him and let him know that they were kind of retooling and had some items that they look to donate to a school system. It's always a good thing when they say you might want to send a box truck to pick up the items. So we have robotics kits. and Mr. Shea drove it.
Oh, my.
We had a truckload of robotics kits. We have STEM kits for our elementary students and science kits. You have a whole list and some pictures in your background notes this evening. We do have a policy that any donation over $1,000 does require board approval, and then a letter on behalf of the district from the superintendent, so that that's all above board. So very, very pleased to accept this gift from Project Lead the Way and recommend it for your approval this evening.
Okay, thank you. That is exciting. Like a motion to approve the donation of items from Project Lead the Way, please.
I'll gladly make that motion.
Yeah, that's right up your alley. Second on that?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. And the next one, Lebanon Rotary donation.
Yes, very pleased that we have such great partnerships with our community service organizations, and the Lebanon Rotary raised $2,208 to help support our high school special needs fund. So our special needs students will reap the benefits of this donation. I'm happy to bring this recommendation to you for your approval.
Okay. Like a motion to approve the donation from the Lebanon Rotary Club.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Second? Questions or comments on that? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And one more, approval
One more,
of
yes.
FFA grant.
The Boone County Community Foundation is providing a $4,000 grant to be awarded to the Lebanon High School FFA chapter. And really no strings attached on this one, as Mr. O'Rourke explained it to us. They just want to allow them to expand their programming, and they've made this donation to all of the, I think, Western Boone and Lebanon for this amount. So happy to bring this for your consideration this evening.
That's excellent. Thank you. Okay, I'd like a motion to approve the FFA grant from the Community Foundation.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
All right. Any questions on that? Concerns? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. All right, approval of farm rental agreement. Mr. Tate.
Yes, in your background information, you should have had a copy of the farm rental agreement with Dean Jackson for 64 tillable acres at $15,040 for the calendar year 2022. Also with Will Hoyt Grain Company with 60 acres, also at $235 an acre for a total of $14,006. Request approval of both those farm agreements.
Okay. Like a motion to approve both farm agreements, one with Will Hoyt Grain and one with Jackson Farms. Like a motion to approve those, please.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second? Oh, Tiffany is seconding. Got it. Any questions on that? No, I think it's pretty standard agreement, that same type of agreement we've entered into in the past.
Those in the, out in the public know what these are for, which areas of, that we lease
So the
out.
school owns property up behind the middle school, and it's in 2 tracts. Like I said, it's 64 acres and 60 acres that, there was an agreement a long time ago when the school purchased the land from the Cunninghams, that the Will Hoyt's farm, of how the acreage rental agreement would be determined. So that's the farm, land behind the middle school that we rent out annually to these 2 farmers.
Okay. Very good, thank you. Any other questions or comments on that? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, school improvement plans. Mrs. Scott.
Good evening. This year, we are bringing before you for your review and approval the 6 school improvement plans representing each of the schools. The principals and their assistants work with the staffs at each school this time of year to establish a school improvement team, and they review all kinds of data, which you've probably seen now in their plan, and establish the plan for the new school year. So we're already working toward developing their new team for this school year to establish the plan for next year. So it includes all kinds of data review, their goal setting, mostly focusing on English language arts and math, and for continuous improvement. There are representatives, I believe, from each school here tonight if you have any questions about the plan. We have created a uniform template. This is the second year for using that template. There are little variations. For example, the high school, of course, focuses on graduation rate as well. And then Harney and Hattie B. Stokes have some requirements associated with being Title I schools that the other schools don't have to have. Other than that, the overall template is very similar between each school.
Okay, well, I will just say thank you. I know these are very labor intensive, and I know it takes,
It's a lot of
literally
work.
months. When do you start on these, and tell us a little bit about the process so people
Well,
understand what you go through.
The process, first of all, we work with the Teachers Association to recruit the teacher representatives. So they have a certain percentage of representation, and then the principals have the opportunity to invite some other staff members as well. And it's all based on the membership in their school. So that process is underway right now. So over the next few weeks, they'll establish their new team. And then that team begins meeting. Sometimes they meet monthly. Every school does a little differently how they go about scheduling their, before school or after school meetings. Sometimes they meet in the summertime. And a lot of what they do is they review the data. And data involves a lot of state testing results, but also NWA, different results that they have available that are measuring their goals. And then they develop an action plan. And the action plan is designed to help them elevate the student learning to meet those goals. There's information in the plans as well about community partnerships that they established to help support some of the work they're doing to help elevate student learning and the overall well-being of kids. And it's a pretty tedious process. Towards early part of August or late August, those plans are then submitted to the superintendent's office, and then Dr. Milliman and Kari Ottering and myself, all three of us review all the plans and we have a certain amount of time to turn them around and give them feedback. Sometimes it's mere editing kinds of things, little details, but sometimes there's some content things that we question, just maybe needs to clarify, or what did you mean by this? And then the principals can then take it back to their team and make adjustments. They have a timeline to turn that back around. And then we have a timeline in September to bring it to you for your approval, so they can then submit it to the state by the October, I believe it's the 8th is the deadline for submitting to the Department of Education. And then that is the plan. It's a 3-year plan, but it has to be reviewed every year because there are 1-year time elements included in it as well. So you have incremental work that you're trying to do along the way. So that's kind of a short synopsis of the work.
Thank you, because I think it is a lot of work, and the people who've worked on it deserve recognition for that.
Absolutely.
It's definitely above and beyond, and it's not just something you put in a binder and stick on the shelf.
No, it has to be a
You
living
use
document.
it, right.
Yes, absolutely.
So, thank you.
To that end, we did begin last year, even with our challenges, meeting with our principals twice a year to review the plans, and it really informs the work of curriculum and assessment and our support for the buildings, because they're able to articulate to us what support they need. Their administrators are here this evening. I'd like to thank them for their work on this as well. The typical response is, when we say, what support do you need from us, a lot of their typical response is, we're good, we're fine, you're doing great, we love this. They need support, right? So we need to meet with them and know what challenges they have, so that we can align our resources in the most efficient way. So we really have tried to make these living documents as much as we possibly can. Appreciate everybody's work on these.
And it really was enjoyable. Dr. Milliman and Kari and I met with each principal, as he said, a couple of times last year, and we have that planned again this year. And we have a list of questions that are consistent when we have these sit-down meetings with them. And it's very informative. It helps us have a greater understanding of how they see things and what their team is trying to accomplish. And while the team are the ones that are working on the plan, the whole staff works on the action. Everybody is involved in the action of getting the work accomplished.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I thought we would just kind of go school by school because I know that the document is huge, so I will just ask. We've all had it in our background as to review all of these, and these obviously are public documents, but they're very lengthy, so they're not just sitting around, so.
And they do get posted on our school district website.
Yeah, they're by
for anyone to
school.
review at any time once they're approved.
Yeah.
So the current plans from last year are currently on there, and then the new ones will be posted as well.
Okay, thank you. So we'll vote on them as one, but I didn't know if anyone had any individual questions. Building administrators are here to answer those if anyone does.
No, I don't. Thank
Okay.
you all.
Okay, very good. All right, I'd like a motion to approve all submitted school improvement plans as submitted, please.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Second? I'll second it. Why not? Good for me. I like school improvement plans, can you tell? It's my kind of stuff. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Plans are approved. Thank you. H, second reading of policy updates. Dr. Milliman.
Another voluminous document of several policies for second reading. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. All right. Obviously, these were presented for a first reading
Yes.
at our last meeting,
A
so.
lot of duplications in this group, as we said last time, non-discrimination for administration, classified, certified, so you'll see a lot of those items times 3 for the various employee groups. So that's why there's a
And again, just note that
significant
these are
list.
regular updates come
Yes.
based on different state
Yes.
law changes and other things that come down.
Yep, could be federal rule changes, could be state Indiana code changes. Could just be Neola going back through it and finding, a different way to word it that makes more sense as well. So we get 2 updates a year, 2 large updates a year, one fall and one in the spring. And then Mrs. Beltran and I pour over those and bring them to the board for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. All right, so everyone has had plenty of time to review those, so I would like a motion to approve the second reading of the policy updates as submitted. Okay. Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further questions or clarification on those? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. All right, informational items. Dr. Milliman.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Keith. Just 2 informational items this evening. The first is just to bring to the board's attention that I was informed by mayor in the city of Lebanon that the city council does intend to discontinue their financial support for the Lebanon School Police Department. As I've shared in several of my public meetings regarding Vision 2025 and our capital improvement planning and planning for the future funding of the district, that's a significant percentage of the school police budget. From a personnel standpoint, it's north of 50% of our cost for the salaries, wages, and benefits and cost of the school police department. So that is a significant loss in revenue. We have looked at things from a financial perspective, Mr. Tate and myself, and at this point in time, we feel comfortable that at least for an additional school year, even though that funding stream will be, we received the last check, which funded this school year, that we will absorb that for one more additional school year. but we do not see that that would be sustainable over a course of a second school year or subsequent school years. So if we do not see a revenue stream to replace that loss, we will have to look at reduction in force beginning with the 23-24 school year. I can't say as I'm sitting here this evening, what school or schools would be affected by that, but we will have additional operational costs as we bring more buildings online, as we bring other additional operational costs online with many of the projects that we'll be dealing with. So it's not something that we can absorb for longer than 1 year. So just wanted to bring that forward as an informational item this evening. If you have any questions at this time, I'd be happy to try to respond to those, or comments or thoughts. We can do that now, and of course we have a lot more in the future to discuss about how we might be able to plug that revenue hole. Yep.
What other school districts do, what their arrangements might be? Are they supported by their city? Do they have other sources of funding?
There are various models of school policing. Some are partnerships with the municipalities where the officers are actually employed by the municipality and assigned to the school district. Several years ago, Lebanon decided to form their own school department, so our officers get their police powers from the police department that the board formed at that time. So that's another model. That's a self-sustaining model. It comes at a cost no matter what. There's always going to be a cost to the school district, because even when there's a shared situation with the municipalities and they have their police powers from those municipalities, the school district is still in a cost-sharing situation with that. So there's always going to be a cost to the district. I can't sit here and tell you which one is more cost-effective, as I think the answer to that would be it depends. It depends on your partnership with your municipality and what they're willing to contribute to that. With ours not discontinuing, obviously, that leaves the school corporation at this point in the current model to be able to have to incur all of the costs for the police. So I hope I answered your question. That's really the two models. It's an SRR. There's some advantages to having your own police department in that they, and speaking from experiences from previous districts, your officers sometimes can be assigned. If they get their police powers from another municipality, they can be assigned off of your school property for something that municipality needs them to do. And so that can become problematic when you're trying to cover. So there's an advantage to having your own police department. There's some disadvantages in that you don't maybe have the long-standing partnership that, just kind of becomes part of the funding DNA, if you will, and how that works. So it just depends on the history. And obviously wasn't here when the police department was formed to know what some of that history is. Our officers do a fine job. I know our parents and community know the importance of school safety, and we're committed to that as well. However, our operations fund is affected just like any other business would be, with additional fuel costs, with additional utilities costs, with all of the things that any business entity would face. And so that's where we are at this point.
I think it's important too, just to thank the city of Lebanon for the support that
Absolutely.
they have given us.
Absolutely.
I was here when the school police department was formed, and it was a big ask, and we asked for 3 years, and they actually gave us 4. So I think it's important to recognize the support that they have given us. Of course, we're disappointed that that is going away, but they more than met their obligation to us that they set up front, and all those discussions that you just said happened as far
Absolutely.
as how to
Yeah.
form our own police department and
Yes.
what that would look like
Yeah.
those years ago, and that still can be something that will probably be looked at as we
Absolutely.
look at
And I
budgets
know
going
we've
forward.
talked, there are levers and mechanisms that school districts have. One is in the state code does allow a school board to ask the community for a school safety referendum. And that is very narrowly focused on just on the school safety item. And then there's obviously, there's another lever for school boards, which is known as an operating referendum, which is a little bit odd because an operating referendum can actually help fund the education fund as well as the operations fund. So one of the levers that you would have to consider as a board is an operating referendum. In an operating referendum, the dollars can go for the operations fund or the education fund. So it can help with school programming, with STEM programming, with teachers, instructional assistants, custodial, wages, salaries, and benefits, as well as school safety. So it has a lot more options to it other than just school safety. It's not as narrowly focused. So those would be two options the board would have to ask the community. And so that could be one of the things that the board considers as well.
Okay.
Now, it's my understanding Whitestown does provide some assistance as well.
That's correct.
Have they stated they are going to continue their assistance?
I did. I met with them last week, and they are going to continue their commitment. Yes.
Well, thank them for us.
I did already, yeah. And I too thank the city of Lebanon. This was not in any way, shape, or form any kind of value judgment conversation this evening. It was, but it needed to, we need to be to talk about this publicly, and it's a situation the board's going to need to face, and it's something we're going to need to talk to our community about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. Thank you.
The second information item I have this evening is just to share, the board is aware of this, because I obviously shared it with you earlier this week. I sent two correspondences, one to the Indiana State Department of Health and one to the Indiana State School Boards Association. I would ask both of them to please consider a public statement. Actually ask the School Boards Association to advocate to the Department of Health a public statement, a bit more public than maybe that we've seen, stating the requirements under the Indiana Code that we must follow as a public school and a public entity when it comes to COVID-19, which has been identified as a communicable disease. And when it's identified as a communicable disease, several Indiana codes come into effect, one of those being quarantine requirements. And I know we've seen a lot in the press about varying applications of quarantines. However, that is not something that's an option. The close contact and quarantine are very specific in the code that you must follow those requirements. So we've asked for them to be a little bit more public in stating those. I did receive a response from the State School Boards Association this afternoon. It was very nice and professional response, and did share that they forwarded on not only to the State Health Department, but also to the governor's office as well on our behalf. And so I just wanted to share with the board that we have gotten some responses from those entities, and we appreciate that. The health department has been, both at the state and local level, have been tremendously helpful in sharing data with us. They've always been responsive. Mr. Martin connects with them often. They're able to answer his questions and point him in the right direction, and give him those directions, and provide webinars and updates to school districts every week, sharing with us new information. So I do thank them for that, but it becomes a bit awkward, I think, and difficult for a school board when you're following those requirements, that it becomes confusing for the public. So we advocated on behalf of the board. So just sharing that this evening. Be happy to answer any questions about that as well.
Have you thought about
Thank you.
sending a similar letter to IHSA?
We did communicate with the IHSAA as well. Mr. Levine did that as well. And we did, they had a regional meeting this week regarding athletics. The indication was the IHSA said that they will have some standardized protocols in place by tournament time. They're not going to get into governing things that are happening during the regular season at this point in time. At least that's what the director shared with our athletic director and the other athletic directors. but there would be something in place by tournament time. So we did connect with them and get some response as well. So.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on those?
It definitely puts us in a difficult difficult position, us and every other school board, when there seems to be inconsistencies, yet we're trying to do what we believe has been put in front of us as law. So it is a consistency from across the board would be well received anyway from this seat, I know.
Yes.
So,
Clarity.
clarity.
Clarity and authority. That'd be good too. Okay. All right.
That's all I have for information.
That is all you have in informational items. Okay. All right. Upcoming board meetings and events. We have a work session here on September 28th, and followed by an executive session and a regular board meeting here on October 19th. So that concludes our business for this evening. So we are adjourned. Thank you.